Stream is actually starting now. It has not ended. What's up, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back to the streams. Another week. We're knees deep into March at the moment. So, what is it? Tomorrow's going to be 18th. Oh, brother, March has just flown past. Apologies, I am a little bit ill today. I just thought I'd do a slightly earlier stream by approximately, I think it's an hour for some of the people on like the East Coast. But just a little bit earlier, because market open is also like in about, I think, an hour's time. So I don't think we'll wait here till market open, but we'll be here until the analysis is done and kind of all of your questions are basically answered. But yeah, I thought I'd start a little bit earlier today to try to capture the early gang, and I know a lot of people want the stream slightly earlier because it's Sunday and they have something to do towards the end of the evening, or they just might want to have an early day, early night sleep or something like that. So yeah, so here we are. But welcome back. We're going to get started probably immediately. I realize for some people who are on, it is quite late already, so, and also I don't know how long my computer is going to continue to function before crashing. Because apparently running multiple softwares like OBS and Zoom is not the best for your CPU and for your RAM. So let's get to it. Same analysis on the monthly, right? Monthly is still bullish above the range, right? We haven't got a closure, which is the only indication which, the only factor which I'm still, keeping in mind. But at any given point, right, this monthly could have two outcomes. Either it just continues pushing without us, straight up to all-time highs, right? Or it starts rejecting and maybe you'll get a closure around these areas. But I'm not expecting a bottom wick, right? So if I'm not expecting a bottom wick, right, that doesn't mean that price doesn't necessarily like if it does flip, right, there's still a chance, right? But I'm not expecting it to flip because it's extremely bullish at the moment. You've rebroke your previous all-time high. You created a new high. You're just retracing that right now, and you have a new week, right? So we'll see where the weekly kind of sits. But overall, I'm extremely bullish. I wouldn't be expecting price to come down, but if it does, you have clean traffic down to this bottom of the range, right? Notice I'm only specifically looking at this bottom of the range. I'm not looking for TPs all the way down to here. It can run, right? None of my business, right? I'll do that analysis when we start breaking past 1993, this sort of 1991, 1993 area. But as of right now, I only see clean traffic from the break of the monthly lows to the bottom of the range, which is down at 1994, 1993. All right, so that's clean traffic that we can take advantage of once we start flipping on the monthly candle. Again, right, just to reiterate, doesn't have to happen, right? Monthly could just not flip and continue pushing bullish, right? So we'll just see what it does. We have like another 2 weeks until the monthly closure, so we've got loads of time. The monthly can do whatever it wants, but as of right now, I'm very, very bullish. Weekly is interesting. We have a closure respecting 2149, 2150 sorts of areas, I would say. So this is fantastic, right? What does this mean? It means that we actually have found a range above here, because this wick here is a rejection, right? If this is rejection, it means that we found some resistance here, and we haven't established support yet, I wouldn't say, right? But at any given point, this could be the bottom of the range. On the weekly, I wouldn't say you have an actual bottom of the range until you get to this point here, right? But the wick here is still potentially like a daily or 4-hour top of the range, so we'll see where it's respecting potentially on the smaller time frame. But just know that there is also some range here, and this could also be interpreted as a potential range too. So on the weekly, obviously we closed bearish, right? I'm not expecting price to be too aggressive for next week, just because you've closed bearish, right? You've established a resistance, you've established potentially a support on your lower time frames, and you're respecting potentially some levels to the left. So price at any given point could just start ranging in this area. And if it does, you probably won't see it move too aggressively, right? But if you're kind of in line with your overall bullishness for March, you could see price continue to print pretty bullish, right? But I'd like to see some pretty steep bottom wicks now, because your dailies, your weeklies, and everything are starting to close bearish, right? Cool. So your daily is closed, right? Your daily is closed say basically no bottom wick after a top wick. You can see a drive, right? But I wouldn't really hold past potentially here, which is around only like a 50 pip range. Not that much of a range to go, right? This is your bottom of the range. So on your daily, cool, you know, you're rejecting off of this point here. Any given point, price can come all the way back up, but respect still. So you have a range here, right? Because this is the last time you kind of, I would say actually, I'm just going to put it here for simplicity, because you have this wick, this wick. This is all the data we have, by the way, right? So any given point, we're just in this range. Price can continue to come down, right, to here, but still continue to do this, right? Just flip bullish, right? Because you're just in the range. You haven't really left yet. What do we expect, right? In terms of market cycles, we have our push, we have our consolidation, which is here, and then eventually price is going to move out of the range, above or below. I don't know where, right? But at the moment, I can tell you I'm pretty bullish, right? So ideally for me to get into some continuation for buys, I'd like to see price come down, break some of these lows here, flip bullish, and then we may be able to take the advantage of this range from 2150 all the way up to 2180 something. So if it does something like this, starts re-breaking the highs, then yeah, we can look to take advantage of this. But it's also, if you start re-breaking this 2183 level on your daily, then we can look for some bottom wicks to continue going up. So this is what I'm expecting price could do if we want to continue pushing bullish. If it doesn't do that, right, then it's a separate question. We probably will be looking for bullish closures above the overall range with pretty steep bottom wick. So what that will look like is, you know, potentially like this, bottom wick to continue going up, right? But this would likely need to be a pretty steep bottom wick, I would say. What you'll likely see is actually this have a steep bottom wick that comes down to, I don't know, wherever this level is, but a break of some of the lows, right? Once you break some of the lows, you're good to continue pushing up once you start getting back into the range. But yes, okay. So 4 hour, let's jump straight to the 4. Cool, let me just remove some of these things. Cool. I'm understanding that on your 4, yeah, you had a pretty strong resistance around here, right? Price failed to break this area once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times really with this candle here as well. So what is the chances that price is going to come down, you know, and really break below all of this now, right? You're understanding that price is at this given point, right, slightly more bearish on your smaller time frames, maybe like your 30 and your hourly, right? Bearish to come down with some structure, but overall I'm understanding that your daily is looking bullish to grab liquidity to continue going up. So on the higher time frames, I'm looking at this potentially as a fake out, right? So in that case, I wouldn't be looking for sells to capture anything between this range to here, right? Because at any given point, price can tap into these areas, come back up, and start rejecting. I would say actually I'm going to move this down to even like these areas here. I don't really think I can take any sells in this entire area here, because any sells here could be fake outs for us on the higher time frame to start retesting these highs here at 2175, and eventually, right, once you start breaking past this level at 2176, you could look to take some pretty clean range above here, right? So from here to here, you have some nice range. That's about 80 pips, right? So if I'm understanding that I'm overall bullish on the higher time frame, I'm just zooming into the smaller time frame to see kind of what's happening for that specific cycle of the market, right? Because say this is a 4-hour candle on your next open, right? Whatever happens to it, like it can come up or it can come down, right? If it starts coming up, then okay, I'm understanding that price, you know, maybe you'll get a fake out to start coming back and you have some range to fill from here to potentially up to here. You have some resistance here as well, right? Does that mean I can take the buy? Not necessarily, because I'd like to see a steeper bottom wick, but this is what could potentially happen because price is bullish. So I would look for some buys, but probably buys once you start breaking above here, right? And then steep bottom wick to start retesting the highs. And where's that bottom wick going to be? You know, probably somewhere around here. Why? Because you have some bottom wicks here. So some bottom wicks here would be ideal, right? If not, if it comes all the way down to here as well, that'd be good. Once you get a breakout above here, right? Bottom wicks to continue driving. But any given point, this can happen, right? Because we're bullish on the higher time frame. If I want sells to continue down, what am I going to need to see, right? And it's just going to be pretty simple, right? I'm going to need to confirm that price doesn't want to continue pushing up. And what is that going to be, right? Because the weekly is opening up, so I'm going to need to see a pretty steep weekly top wick, right? Because your weekly closing bearish, but you're potentially respecting here. So I'd like to see a pretty nice weekly top wick, right? Don't know where that is exactly. You have a daily top wick, so you could see it come down first, right? But I'd like to see potentially price close bearish or close bullish on your 4 hour like this, potentially. Price to come up, break all of these highs, and then start flipping bearish, right? At this point, once you tap into like some of these areas here, I can then look to take advantage of this range here. And what is this level, right? I'm just marking up similar liquidity levels to the left, right? Because we rejected off here once, rejected off here second time, right? So this is an area where price will potentially, respect and drive from, because you need liquidity to continue pushing up, and this could be where we're looking to tap into. So that's the only way I can really get into sell. So if we are respecting some range here, I wouldn't be looking for wick entries. I'd look for, probably the break of this previous 4 hour low to continue down. All right, but that at this point, once you've established this top wick, ideally, right, you have this kind of candle here with some top wick as well, and then you just break the previous top wick, start reflipping, breaking the lows, clean range to come down. So that would be ideal for sells. But if that doesn't happen, nothing I can really do until you probably start closing below, like either here or below this overall range down here, right? And that would look like potentially this with some sort of top wick, and then we'll look for potentially top wicks to come down again, right? Because at this point your weekly top wick is only here. This is your weekly top wick. Your weekly top wick is probably from 2156 to 2058. 20 pips is not really a top wick, so I'm going to need to confirm that price really wants to come down, and I'm going to need these top wicks to continue, because that will be the structure to tell me that price is going to continue going down, right? And if these top wicks don't happen at any given point, right? So if this happens, right, if it's just pushing down like this, any given point, price can do this, right? It can just start rejecting and then start repushing up, right? And on your higher time frame, this would be a weekly bottom wick, right? Finding some support here, driving from that support, reflipping bullish on your weekly, breaking the highs. You have clean traffic up to, I would say, these areas here, right? So either buys or sells, they both work, right? It's just what cycle of the market are you in? And I would say, by the looks of things, you're likely to come down, right? But I can't hunt until price has shown me it doesn't want to go up or it doesn't want to go down, right? If it doesn't want to go up, I'll see a top wick for the weekly, I'll see a top wick for the daily, and then a reflip of the candle to come down. If price doesn't want to go down, I'm going to see it come down, break some of the lows, create that weekly bottom wick, and then flip up and start breaking the highs. That's basically it, right? And those are the confirmations I'm looking for to take into, to kind of guarantee a higher probability chance of my setup or kind of trade playing out. But yeah, I would say anything currently between here and here is probably a no trade zone for me at the moment. Like, you can come down, break these lows, come down, break these lows. Like, to be honest, like even from 48, 49 here down to 45, 40, 44, I can't really take. So anything here, nothing I can really do. Anything at the moment, I think above here is also difficult. But once you start, pushing above here, suddenly we could be looking for some potentials to come up, because you broke this low, right? So let's go to smaller time frame. You're gonna see here, right? You have an hourly top of the range here. I literally just put this line on the 4 hour. The 4 hour doesn't even have really a level here. I just based it off this top wick, right? But this top wick is the top of the range for your smaller time frames, like your hourly, right? Your hourly here, fake out here, respecting. So once you get breakouts above here, you could look to get price pushing pretty aggressively to continue going up, right? Ideally, I'd probably look for it around here. On your 30, you probably have some extra levels here with like these wick entries, wick rejections here. But overall, that's what I'm expecting. If you are going to close above here now, in like the next, I don't know, couple of hours, I will need a bottom wick, right? Because your weekly needs to come down, break into probably a tap into at least, right? At least down into here, right? Like around 21.52. 21, yeah, 50, 53, so it's at least down to here, right? And then that in terms of our bottom wick for the weekly, right? I mean, ideally it taps into 2150 and breaks the lows. If it breaks the lows and reflips, you can have a pretty nice candle, right? You can have price coming down, reflipping bullish, right, to do this. You break the lows, flip bullish, pretty good to go, right? And then on your smaller time frame, your daily, right, break the lows, and then flip up, you may get a fake out, right? So if your daily closes for tomorrow like this, that'd be quite nice, right? Because then you understand that you're above this range now, clean traffic to continue driving up towards the next resistance. Right, and let's break this down with 4 hour. What is that going to look like? 4 hour, you're going to see potentially price coming down first, because daily candle is going to be multiple 4 hour candles, right? So you could see price doing something like this. Then you're establishing potentially a support here. Oops, wrong color. This, right? Tapping into these lows, break the lows, flip up. You've now potentially matched this high. Once you re-break this high after a bottom wick, you have clean traffic, right? And what I'll look for is potentially a break above here on your 4 hour. This is pretty strong resistance. Every time you break above, clean range to fill, right? Clean range to fill. So you could see this, but that's after we tap into 50. Then I can take advantage of the 60 to 65 area, right? And after that, I don't know if I'll take buys above here just based off of this liquidity. But if it does, you know, if it does do something like this, where get like a respecting like this, and you start re-breaking this high with like a nice like liquidity wick as well, right? Like something like this, these, right? Or like, you know, driving from these areas after re-breaking this high and closing above, then yeah, I can look to take some off the rips potentially, because here in this case you've grabbed liquidity, right? But yeah, so that's basically the analysis. Pretty nice, I would say. Price is finally potentially going to move out of this range. I'm anticipating it to be more of a liquidity grab, likely, because you've tried to push many times here, right? You also, the only caveat to that is you haven't rebroken any highs, right? So you've made lower highs as you continued, but you haven't made a lower low. So once you break this, you could see a pretty nice drive to come down, but I won't be able to get into any sells, just because of how the higher time frames kind of aligning for me. Like everything is pretty bullish. I'm expecting price to continue pushing up, especially with your kind of monthly being super bullish, your weekly kind of respecting this potentially. Your daily is also kind of no bottom wick, right? And you also, first time you're breaking out of this zone, you haven't broken these lows, you haven't created a lower low. So you're in a bit of a range, but this could be the week where we, you know, grab liquidity to continue pushing in that bullish direction, right? So yeah, that's basically the analysis. It was pretty short, sweet. Let's see what the boys have to say. WFX is here as well. Welcome. Glad you could make today's session.
Yo, how you doing, Alice?
Good, thanks.
Yo. It's good.
What time is it for you?
For me?
Yeah.
For me, it's 1 a.m. right now.
It's all right. 1 a.m. You gotta go to bed soon.
Yeah, exactly. Not too bad.
Yeah.
I'll survive.
I mean, I think we broke this down yesterday, right? Because market was closed already, but I don't even remember my analysis yesterday. This is why you have to do an analysis every single day. But I'm pretty sure it'll probably be something similar. Like, I can't really look for any sells. Yeah. I forgot what I said really, but any questions from you guys? Any questions from the YouTube as well?
No, nothing for me.
Good weekend?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm really busy. I'm kind of tired.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to look for some time with you as well, but yeah, it's alright.
Yeah.
We'll look for something next week.
Yeah, sure.
Quite packed next week, but we should be able to do. I can't do Tuesday. I can't do Wednesday. That's the unfortunate thing. But we'll look for some time. If not, it'll just be the weekend or whatever. But
yeah, just let me know when you're free.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah.
What would you use for a lot size on a 1K account, right? So 1K account, what's 1%? $10, right? What is 100 pips for $10? I think that's what? 0.01? 0.01 for 10 pips is $1, right? Yeah, I mean, you can either trade it at at 1% risk or 2% risk, and it's either 0.01 or 0.02 if you want to risk that amount, right? If you're happy to risk more, like 5% or whatever, 0.05, right? I'd say the max you really want, because I wouldn't say it's like the biggest account, right? But it's likely a 1K account that you're making is going to be a live account. It's just, what are you willing to risk, right? Like, I think for Don's 1K account, he's using 0.1, but that means for, you know, a 100 pip loss at 0.1, that's $100. That's 10%. So are you willing to lose 10%? Some of the losses we have sometimes are, you know, 150, sometimes even 200 pips. That's 15 to 20%. So it's up to you really. Like, what is your, you know, relationship with kind of risk management, and how much do you personally want to risk on that account, right? But for me, I think I'm using 0.05s. So about 5%, because then I can close half, or I can manage risk in the middle. But I've kind of switched up a little bit, depending on how it's growing, or, you know, depending on, you know, just other factors as well. But I would say if you can also think about if you want to keep it a standard lot size, so using a same lot size for every single trade, right? Or if you have different stop loss sizes, some are like 10 pips, some are like, you know, 150 pips, so you want to have flexible lot sizes as well, and you can calculate your lot size based off of risk pretty well. So for example, if your stop loss is only 10 pips, right, compared to like a 100 pip stop loss, you can use 10 times the lot size, right? So suddenly you're not risking, because you're 10 pips on like a 0.1, that's going to be $100, right? And if that was 100 pips on a 0.01, that would also be $100, right? So same amount of capital you're losing and percentage that you're risking, but yeah, it depends on the kind of stop loss and the way you trade as well.
Yeah, I've got a quick question.
Go for it.
So you were saying on the daily how you would look for like the break of the lows, like liquidity wise. Is that
Yeah.
all you'd like be looking for, like liquidity wise for now?
So I would say at the moment, I don't know what price wants to do, right? So because price looks to be bearish, right? But you also kind of respect this range here, right? You have a low here, you have a range here, but you kind of haven't really you've broken out in terms of like a daily candle, but you also don't really have much of a bottom wick. Understanding that price overall is extremely bullish to go up. Any given point, this could be liquidity to go up, right? So that's the main thing I want to confirm. Like, is this liquidity, or is this an actual push to come down, right? But as it's kind of looking at the moment, if it really does want to push down, you probably need to break some of these highs as well, right? Your 4-hour coming down slowly, like you probably want to see something that looks like this, where price probably comes up, breaks all the highs, and then starts flipping bearish. And at this point, you can probably say, yeah, I'm pretty bearish to come down. And then just on your weekly, what this looks like, right, is a top wick for your weekly to start coming down, right? And this is our confirmation that price doesn't want to continue pushing up, right? If we just move this candle to all the different time frames, you'll see, right, you're breaking this high for the daily. On your 4-hour, you're breaking some of the ranges above. You're potentially, you know, coming to tap the top of this range here just to flip bullish, just to flip bearish, and then start pumping down as well. Right, so the advantage point you have is between here and here, and that's like, I mean, that's pretty nice, right? And you can probably take like some of these stops here. But overall, I'm understanding that as price is currently, I have no idea if this is liquidity for us to go up, or if this is the actual push. So just looking for either a top wick or a bottom wick to confirm that, and then jumping on the wave.
Yeah. So is it almost like if we drive up first, that would be liquidity. It could be liquidity for us to drive down, like vice versa, if we were to drive down first.
Yeah. So if I want to take buys and it's just pushing up, I can't take buys. I'm going to need to see, you know, price push up, reject somewhere, right? Come down, attempt to come down, fail, and then re-break its highs. And in that case, I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, you're looking to continue bullish, and the percentage chance of that happening is a lot higher. Whereas if I'm looking for the sells and it's just pushing down first, right? I'm understanding, okay, can it push down infinitely? Our overall structure is also bullish, so I'm always worried that price is going to continue pushing up, and this could be liquidity to go up. So what I'd wait for is probably price, if it's pushing down, to come up to create a top wick, re-break the lows, then yeah, cool. understanding that there's a high chance that price will continue down, at least for the kind of interim, for like, you know, the next couple of hours or whatever, for like that 4-hour candle or whatever that candle is.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Esty.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yo.
What's up, Jacob? How you doing?
How's everybody? Good?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
No, I'm good. How are you? Good.
You driving or what? At home?
Good.
Nice. Jacob, there's no way you got trades. It's been the weekend, man. There's no way. It's the only time we do an analysis on the live where Jacob's like, so I took a trade on the 15 here. Could you go to the 15?
Very true.
It's good though. You're not like telling me to like, you know, spin up Bitcoin or whatever, right?
Yeah, right.
Bitcoin's dropping. Well, I mean, I'm not expecting it to really push up too much. Like, look at that. Signs of rejection, right? Your monthly's bullish, but you also close respecting. Any given point, this could flip. Kind of similar to gold, right? Your weekly, you have a closure above, and you have a nice celery potentially. But you have a pretty strong wick rejection here, and it's coming down. I mean, this is top of the range. Yeah, it's difficult. What's any broke the lows? So
I had a level for sales below 2152.855. Why are you looking, or why did you say like it needs to tap 2150 first?
just because if you just look at the, I would say not the daily, right? The 4-hour. So I'm understanding that any given point, like you could break this zone into 2 ranges, I would say. You have this range here, right? Just kind of below, let's say around here, right? Top of the, bottom of the range here, top of the kind of resistance there. And then you could also say you have like a second range around here, right? So if we just look at this, price potentially this could be a fake out, right? Fake out to come down. But you have a candle here respecting this support. And then you've pushed down, right? You've pushed down understanding, okay, yeah, fine. You know, you've been bearish, you had a fake out to come down. But I don't know in terms of this range here, if this is liquidity to push up or if it is an actual continuation for price to come down.
Why do you see that range? I guess I'm not seeing the range. Like I don't see it. I guess.
See this range to come down?
Yeah, like on the hourly, like I don't get it. Like I don't know.
As in like you don't understand why I can't take sells down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can take sells down, but I'm going to need to confirm price is not going to continue pushing up. Because at any given point, like this weekly, right? So this daily is breaking out of this range for the first time, right? Since I would say last Tuesday, right? Because you created a resistance, a support, didn't break the resistance. So cool, you're in this range now, but you've broken out potentially on your daily, right? If you've broken out on your daily, I'm expecting price to come down, but my overall structure for the daily is very bullish. And I'm very bullish for the monthly as well. So I'm worried, right? If I'm looking for trades below here to come down, I'm worried that this is potentially liquidity for us to come up. Because if you look in the past, right, last time these things happened, you had this. I mean, even for this here, you only came down really to here. So what I'd like to see is a confirmation that price doesn't want to continue pushing up before I can take these sells to come down. So this isn't currently a tradable range for me, but if price comes up and to tap like some of these areas around here, or the top of the range ideally, then yeah, I can look to take some sells to come down here now, because I'm confirming that price doesn't want to continue pushing up if it's rejecting from these areas, right? Like if it doesn't reject here and it wants to continue pushing up, it will, right? But for me to take the sells down here, I would need to confirm that, okay, firstly, your weekly has a top wick to come down, and I'm not worried about the weekly flipping. I'm not worried about the daily potentially faking out to come back in, right? To come back into this range. So if the daily suddenly comes and does something like this, right? It's like, oh, you've come down, you've broken lows. Wow, great. Suddenly it just does this,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And then I'm worried for this.
All right. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Like obviously I am expecting this level likely to get tapped because, you know, you need liquidity to push up, but just off of how the daily and weekly closed, I'll need a top wick because regardless of whatever happens, if price just does this and it starts pushing down with like no top wick or whatever, then at this point, I'm just going to be waiting for buys potentially once the weekly flips, right? Because then your weekly potentially could respect, come back into this range, and then we can look for buys like this, right? And we don't have to, because this move here, like let me highlight this move here, the bearish candle is not guaranteed, right? This is kind of the decision making candle. Is price pushing down, or is price gonna grab liquidity here and then look to push up? And this, at this point, you're always worried. For all these sells to come down, you're worried that, oh shit, the weekly has no top wick, right? And oh shit, like the monthly is so bullish. Like, why am I looking for sells? And if I am looking for sells, do we have enough liquidity? Like all these questions, right? Whereas if we just, Jesus, so many circles. But yeah, like for example, if like the hourly, because you're also breaking below now, right? You could see a fill. You can definitely see a fill of the range. It's just not something I can take. Like price here, last time it kind of closed back into this range below here, right? Below, I would say, I mean, you didn't really get a closure below here, but you know, once you do get a closure below, overall, I mean, here is also not bad, right? Like you get a closure below here, you filled, right? So you can get a fill towards here, but like, what happens after this, right? Are you going to reject like these candles to come all the way back up? And I don't want to be in this move if I'm understanding that, you know, prices, you know, not really grab liquidity to continue going down. And also here you have no top wicks here, no top wicks here. So it's a little bit sketchy for me, but yeah.
Could you say if you go down to the 15 that you could move your level to like 2148.677, like for the cleanest, like once like that would be like with the top wick too, or even if price gets down there. 2140, yeah, like right below that candle, or where you
Like
already
this
have it,
candle.
basically. Where you have it already, yeah, basically.
I would say, yeah,
It's like break
like here.
fall structure right there. I feel like, right?
I mean, you could also say on your 15, you have some pretty nice structure below here. 2151. If you do get closures below 2051, right? Yeah, I probably am bearish for the time being, but at the same time, I'm gonna need some top wicks. I'm gonna need some pretty nice top wicks, and where the top wicks are gonna be, I don't know exactly, but like if you do get closures like this, I'm gonna need a top wick probably to break this high to continue down. That's if it just closes like this with not much of a top wick, because this will be the weekly, right? And I can't accept that as my weekly. Or if it kind of comes down, trickles down, does like something like this, and then you get a closure below, right? Like you get a closure below like this. What I'll need is probably price to get, like, it's gonna need to tap into some, like either this area, re-break the weekly highs, or you know, some areas above like here or whatever, right? I'm gonna need that confirmation for me to continue down. But once you do create that, you know, confirmation that price, you know, is trying to push up but it fails, then yeah, I can look to take these sells to continue down, right? Like this. I mean, if we look to the left, look, what happened last time we closed below 2150, 2151, right? You see here, all this. Last time you closed below, you didn't really tap into, you continue pushing up. This was bullish, right? Here you consolidated a little bit, you started pushing down. Even if you really wanted to push down, you still, you know, grab liquidity in these areas, number one. Number two, you also came all the way back up to these areas before you were able to, you just even push down to here, but you didn't get a closure again. So we don't have too much data, but I would say like you do need liquidity. You can't just push down out of nowhere. Like you're 30 here, right? You came all the way down here, grab more liquidity. Yeah, I'm gonna need to see some proper closures, probably higher time frame closures below, like here on your 30. And then after that, if you do, some top wicks probably around 2157. Yeah. Does that help? I mean, yeah, what else are you confused about, I guess?
Oh, you said what else?
Yeah, yeah.
I think you said what the hell? I don't know why I heard that. That's good for now.
Yeah.
I say for like buys above 2172.
Buys above 2172. So notice that like when you say buys or sells, I always go to the higher time frame first, right? I don't look because you zoomed into the 15 quite quickly, but for me, I need to see what is actually high. Like, does this make sense for me, right? So you're probably looking for the buy above this top wick here, right?
Yeah, basically.
Right. So I mean, I would say yeah, you should have some pretty clean range to go up to here, 30, 35. Let's see what it looks like, right? Let's see on your 4 hour, on your 1 hour. I mean, you could if you start really pumping up, right? I would say what I need is again that bottom wick. So if price, I mean, let's just go to the daily. What is the break above here going to be, right? It's going to be price coming to continue going up likely, but because you have a closure below here, what this could also be is price doing this, breaking these highs to continue down as liquidity, right? So what am I going to wait for? I'm going to wait for a bottom wick first, breaking some of these lows or tapping into this 2150 level, maybe below, reflipping up, and as you break above, right, you can look to take this. Or what's even better is you don't need to, like, I don't think you're going to tap into 2173 tomorrow, right? But you could get a fake out on your candle, right? Something that looks like this. And in this case, you've broken all lows, closed back into this range above here, established a support. You have clean range to drive up to fill this wick, and also probably the rest of this range. So we could look for some buys tomorrow if this happens. So there's a lot of different scenarios, but yeah, that's what I would be looking for buys. At the moment, buys above 2173. Yes, depends on how the kind of candles are closing. So if your 4 hours starts to create bottom wicks and then start flipping up, then cool. If it starts trickling down and then starts flipping up, right, I'll still wait for some bottom wicks to continue going up. But yeah, like I think you can, if it does break some of these lows here, taps into this 2151 level, you could probably look to take advantage of this 2165 to 2173, just because you've broken some of these lows here. So if you wanted to continue down, what is this? Like your market structure is, you know, you're ranging here, you haven't created a lower low, then you suddenly created a lower low. You created a lower low to do what? To then break here, right? Like on your smaller time frame, on your 30 or whatever. You've broken all these lows just to come back up to here, right? And so this range suddenly it is cleaner. But I would need to see the break of the lows first, because if we really zoom in, right? So just kind of focus on this, right? You've come down, you've created higher lows or whatever. You then created a lower low, breaking all of this, breaking this previous. Then you start closing even like above here. Like, I mean, this could be clean traffic, but I can't take this. The next clean traffic area for me is from here. Right, if I'm flipping bullish, I'm understanding that you have some clean range to trade here. But yeah, wait for the breakout lows, and then that will be some potentially nice range for us to trade. Like this, right? Break the lows, come back up, break above here, clean range. Clean. Right? Here, you tried to get a closure above, right? You didn't, right? You came down. Like even all of this, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't care about this. Wait for liquidity. Wait for liquidity, breakout of like some lows. Then this is now clean traffic, right? Like if this happens, like I think a lot of the times when people are looking at the charts and be like, oh, like I really want to get in now. Well, then ask yourself, right? Is price moving? If price isn't moving, it's moving like 1 or 2 pips per minute, right? Then it's like, well, even if you were in, you're not doing anything. So why don't you wait for, like, and price is likely not doing anything because there's not enough liquidity. So why don't you wait for the liquidity first and then confirm that, oh shit, price is going to move, and then you get in the direction that you think price is going to move in, right? Because I'd rather sit there for like 3 seconds and catch 10 pips or lose 10 pips compared to sitting there for 3 hours and just be like, oh shit, am I losing 10 pips right now, or am I going to win 10 pips?
Yeah, and it's like even if you know, like you could still take that trade and like I guess journal it and see like how it works out. But it's like that's probably the trade that's like it just takes away way too much mental.
Yeah, and you don't
energy.
need to sit through all that. If you're seeing price not moving, then even if you get in, price is not going to move. It's not because you entered the trade, oh, price is going to move now, right? Price needs to move when it's grabbed liquidity, when it's breaking out of ranges. So if it's not moving, I mean, it's a pretty strong indication that price doesn't want to really go anywhere. Once price does move, that's probably when we're looking to go in. That's why volume exists, right? Volume as a concept means that, you know, a lot of people are trading the markets at the moment. This is the time to, you know, get those pushes in the directions that we can, you know, estimate for, or like kind of, you know, short-term predictions, right? So that's basically it. When it's not moving, like I know a lot of people are like, you know, like, I don't know, during like these areas, like, oh shit, like, yeah, price is gonna go up, right? But it's not done anything, right? This entire, like, from here, this candle here to like this candle here, what was that? That was like an hour and a half, 2 hours and a half. You move 10 pips. You'll be in a trade, you'll be like, oh shit, yeah, what's going on? Like, say you're in a buy, right? And it comes down, you're like, oh shit, this is the wrong idea. Whereas like if you just wait for liquidity to happen, right? And then maybe it re-breaks the highs, then re-breaks this low, right? Then you're looking for a top wick, you suddenly have within half an hour, 10 pips you can trade. Instead of waiting an entire 2.5 hours. Yeah, but that's obviously not just directed at, you know, one or two people. It's everyone in general, and also myself, right? I've been in that boat many times where I'll just see price doing absolutely nothing. I'll be like, yeah, you know, this is a great opportunity to get in. And at the end of it, it's like, why? I'll just review that trade. I'll be like, why the fuck did I get in? Price was not doing anything, and I'm just now stressing over my trade because I know it was a bad entry, right? There's no reason to get in, but I'm also in it now and I don't want to lose money, right? And then like, you know, things of FOMO come in, like bits and pieces kind of break down your psychology, and it's just not fun, man. Like, just wait for the likely setup. And I know a bunch of you in chat definitely experienced that, because I did, right? And it's just a part of the journey.
Yeah, I've got another quick question,
Go for it.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So you're saying on the 4 hour how if we wanted to come down to fill the range to like 21.49, we would have to see some sort of confirmation that this wasn't just a liquidity grab to like drive back up.
Yeah.
So I'm looking on like the 4 hour now.
Yeah.
Would you use the 4 hour like to determine like where you wanted these top wicks to be? Like,
Yeah.
because I can sort of see there's like a sort of resistance at like 21.65.
Yeah.
And then there's also something at like 21.73, a bit higher up, you know?
Yeah, like these two, you're kind of talking about, like these.
Yeah, those two. But I guess
Those
it's
two.
not like we don't really want to like predict it, right? Like wherever it does go.
I mean,
Or
you
we
can
can, like,
you can
see,
expect
you know what I mean?
price to do certain things. Like, for example, if this 4 hour suddenly starts coming up first, right? Obviously, I think it's going to be difficult because markets just open, right? Any given point, this could just be, you know, price opening up for the markets, and you're just going to settle somewhere in this area, and that's going to be a little bit annoying. But you know, if price is showing us that potentially for the next 4 hour when market opens, you have, you know, like a bearish closure that looks like this, hasn't done too much essentially, right? And then suddenly, you know, when there's volume, say during Asian or whatever, start pumping up, right? Start pumping up. You get this, you know, 4 hour that, you know, like maybe like an hourly candle looks like this, no bottom wick. Another one that kind of comes up. Or actually, the cleanest one I would say is if price does this, then starts re-breaking this low, but then taps into this area. All right, because you've re-broken this high, then you've re-broken this low. So in the kind of cadence of things, if price comes up first and it's like, oh yeah, we're printing bullish and whatever, you're understanding that at the moment you could still be bearish to come down. So I'm looking for buys and I'm looking for sells at this given point. When price is like this, right? So let's actually just draw the candle and discuss, right? So when it's looking like this and it has like a very small bottom wick or maybe no bottom wick, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, cool. In terms of our daily, this could be a fake out to come back up. Cool. That could be a possibility. Possibility number 2 is that this could be liquidity for us to come down. At this given point, both kind of scenarios, basically the same probability for me. I have no idea. So which kind of scenario will need to, what will need to happen for me to determine if this is going to be a buy or a sell, right? If this comes all the way down to breaks this low, high chance, because this will be a weekly top wick from here up to here, right? So your weekly at that point will look like this, because your weekly had a like opened, well, your weekly opened below, like here. Your weekly is looking like this, right? Has a bottom wick. So if you now reflip bearish on your weekly, high chance you're gonna come down, right? And then you'll see a weekly candle that looks like this, right? But if in another world, right, price starts pushing up, then cool. What am I gonna need to see? I'm probably gonna need to see some closures. Number 1, above this area here, right? Closure back into this range. Every time you closed above on your 4-hour, clean traffic, right? So in that case, if this is our level, I'll look for price to do this. And if you have no bottom wick here, what I'll look for is price potentially to come all the way back down, break these lows to come up, right? But that's the thing, like if it taps into this area and then also taps into this area, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, because then there's going to be less direction again. So what I mean by that is, if price doesn't close above, right, and then does this, taps up, and then closes like this, I'm just going to get no trades, because I don't know where it's going, right? Because at any given point, price can then flip back down to do this, or maybe even like no top wick really, but like can do this, comes down, and at this point could close like respecting here or something, and then like I literally couldn't do anything. But if you then get a closure below, say like you get a closure below, at this point I'll probably look for a top wick to come down, because it hasn't like this is taken a lot of time, right? And this is probably like quite late into like I don't know, potentially into London, or no, sorry, into New York, because these are 4-hour candles. So at this point you probably have low volume or whatever. This could happen, but I don't know if I'll get into that trade. So it depends on when things happen as well. But ideally it taps into these 2 levels, so like into here, or kind of like a break of these lows anywhere into this box.
Yeah, so and if you wanted to see like price go up, you would see for the daily break of the lows, right?
Yeah. Daily break of the lows, because you have a breakout, right, essentially on your daily. So you're expecting it to come down, but I don't know to where, and I don't know if this is going to be a fake out. So if it breaks all of these lows and then starts reflipping bullish, high chance you're gonna continue going up, right?
Yeah, okay, I see what you mean now. So it's either we come down to like break the daily lows, or we come up to those like 4-hour levels.
But also like if price does this first, comes all the way down to here, right? And then like as in what I mean is like if it does this, comes all the way down to here, flips bullish, right? I can't look for buys until you probably close above this level, right? But also if you fill the entire range, I don't know if I'll be able to get anything, because once you fill the entire range, price can do whatever it wants, right? Because then you're just in this range now. We're trying to take advantage of the fact that price has not filled the entire range, like it's done something like this. Bottom wicks for you to continue driving to fill the range, because you've just had this massive rejection. Understanding that every time you reject and come back into this range, high chance, well, basically every single time, you've filled the range. But if you filled the range already, I can't do much.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, no,
Because if it's tapped into this level already, what could be the likely case? You can reject here, come back down. You can continue pushing up, but like you could also start coming down or whatever. Or you at this point you could just continue to push all the way back up. So I don't know what is happening. And at this point, this was my advantage, right? From 2161 to 2165, 2166. And if I couldn't take advantage of this range, the next time I'll be able to take advantage of anything is kind of a breakout above here. 2170 or 69.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Honestly, trading, I think the number one thing in trading is like you need to have another side income or something. Has to,
You have to have
As-
another
as-
what?
if another side income, or like if you're trying to like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
your problem is FOMO, I guess. Is that's the answer.
FOMO is like 90%
I
of
feel like
trading.
I feel like I trade the best when I feel like I don't need to trade.
Yeah, but I think
It's
it's
as simple
also
as that.
it's
It's literally
difficult.
as simple as that, though. Like, trade the best when I don't feel like I need to trade.
Yeah. I think just basically having income on the side means that you're not depending on trading to make money, so that eliminates a lot of FOMO, right? But at the same time, even if you have money on the side, right, it's not necessarily, it's not always the case that you will have no FOMO. Like, you'll still think, oh yeah, I'm coming into trading to make a lot of money because, you know, I want some extra money, disposable income to do whatever I want, right? To travel, to spend on like food, whatever it is, or like rent. Just give yourself less overall pressure in terms of like money. But that's where FOMO kicks in, because suddenly you're trying to, you have a goal for how much you want to make on the charts, and you know the charts don't know how much your rent is. The charts don't know if you're like the kind of house you want to buy and the mortgage is like, you know, 100k or whatever. They don't care, right? The charts will do whatever whatever it wants. So your FOMO essentially is not in line with what the price is doing. So if you have those emotions and those kind of inclinations, market's likely gonna fuck you up, and then you'll feel sad, you'll feel emotional, and it's just gonna continue beating the shit out of you.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like you only go through that phase sort of when you're starting, because once you realize like trading is a skill set, you don't feel that need to have that FOMO either, because you're like, oh well, I'll see that trade again, or oh well, I can like catch that trade some other time.
I'll say there's, I mean, even like advanced trading, there's still FOMO. It's just, you know, dealing with it initially is also very different to how you deal with it in like a later stage, like a trading career. Because FOMO initially may be like, oh, I'm trying to make like $100 to do something. FOMO later on could be like, bro, I made like 10k this week, but like I made 30k last week.
Yeah, right. Dang.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, what am I doing there? So FOMO comes in a lot of different areas. So like, I wouldn't say you're you're done with FOMO at any given point. It can always come back. But yeah, as kind of Dope Rec is saying,
Well,
FOMO,
I guess that's good.
yeah.
That's a good way to like always think about it, because if you tell yourself like, oh yeah, like I'm good for like I have no FOMO, then you'll always be like, I guess not self-aware when you do have FOMO.
Yeah. Yeah, Dope Rec, I mean, like, you essentially, you enter because of emotions, right? Yeah, and that's fair enough, right? That's essentially what FOMO is. You don't have a strategy, but I think there's an extension to that as well. Like, you can have a strategy, but being able to be disciplined enough and stick to the same strategy no matter what happens, right? If you take a loss, or you take like 3 losses, 4 losses in a row, does that mean your strategy is going to change, right? And if you don't have strategy, yeah, confidence as well. Confidence in your strategy will also have, like, you know, influence on FOMO. There's like, FOMO is massive, right? It's just basically, I would say like 80% of trading psychology. So much to do with just, you know, because it's a money-based thing, it's difficult to break out of that chain. That's why only 1% of people who trade make it out.
I wonder how true that stat actually is. Or like, I wonder if that's just like what social media says, so that like traders just like kind of like, oh, I guess I'm just that 1% that's not gonna make it.
I mean, realistically, if we break it down, right, you have, let's say, different ages. You have people who are trading since they were like, you know, 15 years old to around that kind of 25, let's say, within those that kind of 10-year age range. You have those people, I would say the success rate is probably higher there. You then have a lot of people who entered trading maybe in their like 40s or 50s or whatever, who are just trying to make quick money and were losing a lot of money because they don't have a strategy, or they're just, you know, investing in fake gurus or whatever. So I think their win rate is a lot lower, right? and they're not really there to understand the markets, and they're not really profitable traders essentially. So if you then balance the two, or you balanced all the different age groups, you then maybe can come to like an average percentage of around, I would say, like really 1 to 2%. Like per 100, 200 people, you may get like 1 or 2 people, right, who are actually fully profitable and can make an entire living off of trading. Cool. It is 10 p.m. All right. Any last comments? If not, I'm gonna probably end it here. Nothing from boys. I'll see you guys tomorrow, anyways, for the member session.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, all good.
Cheers, always.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Have a good rest
Yeah,
of
thank you.
your weekend. Speak to you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, see ya.
All right, boy.
See ya.
See ya. Have a good one.
You too. See ya. For everybody on the YouTube, thanks for joining up. This is our stream 1 for this new week in March, week 3 of March. We'll be back tomorrow for a members only session, and then Tuesday, Wednesdays I'm going to be doing some one-to-ones with some of the members, and then we'll be back Thursday for the next stream, which will kind of conclude the week. We'll see how prices moved over the week, what potentially you can trade for Friday, what you should look out for and stuff like that. But hopefully, we touched on a little bit of psychology stuff because it's Psychology Sunday today, but we also did a pretty nice analysis to see where price is potentially going. In summary, I would say buys and sells work out, right? You will need to see some areas get tapped, either kind of like this 2164 area, or that kind of below in 2151 to 2147 areas. I would say this top area is anywhere kind of in between here. I would like to see this get tapped, just because this is kind of the break of the 4-hour highs, could be a top of the range here. So you could see price just tap into 2160, 61, like these areas here, and then reject to come down. In this case, I'll probably look for some continuation after you have more top wicks to come down, just because at that point your weekly top wick isn't too steep. If it comes all the way up to these areas and then starts flipping, yeah, I can look for some flip the candles or whatever that is. But hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Obviously this is just my analysis, you don't have to follow it, and please do have your own analysis as well. But yeah, thanks for joining up, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, and have a good rest of your weekend. Peace.